Howdy folks, welcome to Starfield. I have been doing some shipbuilding. Recently I've started really digging into different mods and things you can do with them and the various merging techniques, and you can build, oh, not the Frontier, but there are a lot of different things you can do. I'm going to be kind of showing you how to put some of these together. I'm not real fond of this one. I might do some changes, so we'll come back to that one. But let me get back to it. This one, I absolutely fell in love with the ship once I put it together. So I want to show you how to build it. It looks a lot more complex than it is. The back end over here, that can get a little fiddly, but the rest of it's actually a lot more straightforward than it looks. So let me go ahead and get this thing broken apart, and I will show you how it's all put back together. Before we get into actually building the ship, let me show you my mod list and load order and tell you which ones you absolutely need. I will tell you which ones you can safely ignore. This one is just a quest. Anyway, I'm going to attempt not to ramble too much. In case you haven't noticed, I am on the autism spectrum, so sometimes the way I talk gets a little bit odd, but I'm sure you'll be able to bear with me. Shipbuilder categories. Place doors yourself. Absolutely essential. This one is for just a couple of decorative parts. It's a paid mod, so feel free to completely ignore this. Race Yard I'm using a few parts from. It is a paid mod. There are free alternatives, so I'll get to those. Shipyards I use. This one's free, but I do use some parts. And Trinity Aeroworks, same thing. Skip the Fleet Rearmed, Owltech stuff. But Falkland Systems, you need that for the HABs. This is just an interior design patch. I prefer the black look for the seating, but optional. Aerospace, not. I need a few pieces from this, including the Docker. This one is optional. You can use this version of the Deimos bridge if you want. I really like the inside of it. Skip the Graphs HABs. I am using decorative engines. I'm not using the HAB shells on this particular build. The Matilia PDY patch, all of the PDY patches. But better ship part flips you need. Same with snaps. Easier shipbuilding, just makes it easier. All the parts are available at New Atlantis, except for the Falkland ones. You have to get those at the Falkland Systems shop itself. Ship mods, rule snaps, and the flips expansion, absolutely. Do not need these, do not need that, or that, or that, or that. This one is where I get the cockpit from, and this one is for all the decorative bits outside. Functional decor, this is all internal stuff. Colorize is a good one to have, as well as the better ship flips patch. And then these two, as a new mod, I'm digging into. I'm excited for. There's so many more rotations, but we're not used in this build at all. So that's my mod list and load order. Now into the build itself. Looks like a bit of a mess, doesn't it? There are a lot of parts here, and there are a few spots where things can be a little bit tricky on how things get put together. But first, probably should have mentioned this earlier, in case past or future me decides to put it into the intro, in which case I'll cut this part out. This does require the use of some paid mods to get it exactly the way I have it. For the internal spaces, you're going to need the Falkland Systems HABs. And they are absolutely worth the 400 credits. Just, if you're going to be taking shipbuilding as any kind of a hobby, 400 credits is worth it. For the exterior stuff, you're going to need the ASC Deimos parts. These armor plating pieces are absolutely fantastic. I am using parts from another paid mod, specifically Bad Text Subspace Warfare. You do not need that one for this build. I'm only using it for this ComSpike array to add a little detail and greebling. And I also have, I'm going to tear all this apart later because this is the complicated bit back here. But I'm also using some of these Deimos bellies that give extra cargo. I'm putting a lot of extra mass on my ship through parts. So to play it roughly vanilla plus vanilla friendly, but with mods, I add modded engines and modded cargo to kind of get me sort of not unrealistically overpowered. All right, all of that kind of backstory stuff out of the way. Let's go ahead and get into the build. We're going to want to start with a 2 long docking or landing bay of your choice. I'm using a landing bay from the Stroud Premium Edition mod, but you can absolutely use any the Deimos landing bay, the 120D. However, you have to come into this hab here and not up. The hab I'm using has no hab entrance on the bottom. So from there, we're going to go into, I've got the cargo hull, and I'm using the reactor core. This is the actual reactor for the ship. You don't need to use this one. I'm using it because it's really easy to upgrade. Just delete this one and add the next layer, next level. Above the cargo hull, I'm using Play Stores Yourself. I think this should have been in the vanilla base game, but I'm using a ladder up into a living space. And on top of that living space, this comes from a free mod, Avantech Shipyards. It just gives you a lot of extra space above the actual docker itself so you can put stuff. So I hide this underneath. It sits underneath this piece here. So I just pretend that this piece opens like clamshell protects, you know. All right. So from these two habs, you got a Falkland brig in the back. Again, you cannot go up or down from this hab. You can only enter it from the sides, front and back. But I have doors going into there. Another one into a 2x3 living quarters. Into a control station. Up into a second control station. And then I'm going into a Deimos IO cockpit. This is a modded Phobos cockpit. It's the Solitude series. It has an internal captain's quarters and no extra crew seats, so your crew can't be in there bugging you the whole time. All right, so we're going to start putting all this together. This is from the ASC Deimos mod. This is going to sit right here, the attachment point on top of the control station. And the cockpit's going to slide in right like that. Now we're going to take all of these armor pieces and the one on bottom, and we're going to go ahead and attach them to the ship. This one attaches to this piece here. This one, I missed a step. There's no actual attachment point for this one, so I used the wrong one. Oh well, I'm going to keep it. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to replace it. I have others over here. I want the regular hab snap at 100%, and I want the right snapping point to be on the control station, the left one all the way out, and that gives this a piece to attach to. Oh, this one has no piece to attach to yet. Neither do these. I got ahead of myself. On top of the center portion of the 2x3 living quarters, we're going to put down a couple of these ASC Deimos armor plating type B1s. That gives me snapping points here. Where'd I put them? Where these two. One thing to keep in mind with these plates here, they have two, they can jump up or jump down just a little bit. Put them to where they're bounced down, and these will line up. There they are. This is going to all be all for the back. I grabbed the wrong ones. These are actually going to be sitting on top. It's these three I need. Your grab drive, whichever one you want. I'm just using this one for now. And then two of these. Grab them all. And these get tucked in just above the living quarters and right behind the control station. Alright. Now from the sides, I'm using one of these, the Matelia Aerospace free mod weapons. I absolutely love the shape of this particular cannon. Stick that on top of an NG-15 landing gear. Don't let it snap to anything. You could either do it this way, select it, grab it, and bring it towards the piece and it'll attach. Or you can take these two pieces off here. I'm going to be doing a lot of that. So now that's in place. Let's get the front side, the strut nose cap. But I've got some stuff added to it. Let's pull this apart real quick. Obviously, weapons and everything are completely your choice. I just happen to I like the look of these. So we're going to take one of these Disruptor 3320 Alphas, and we want two of them merged into the same spot. So delete that one, select these two, copy, and then you can delete these three. And now you have two merged in together. On the back of this nose cap, we're going to take another hab snap at 33% wide and attach it to the outside. And then this is going to attach directly to the middle. Let me show you that one again, but from a different angle. The spine A, not on the outside, not on that side, but right in the middle. Then you select both of them and attach it to the back. That merges this slightly in and kind of merges the weapons into itself. Gives a really cool look. So we take this whole assembly, and since there are extra snap points, you got to be careful. You want it just to where the corner of this is peeking out from the nose cap. There it is. Okay, I thought I'd move this one. Now for underneath here, we're going to take a skeg, another one, flip it back around, and on either side of a 320C B landing gear. But we're also going to take one of these hab snaps at 25% wide. Wrong thing. And I don't want it attached on, I want it attached just outside. So we can grab this whole thing and we want it tucked in all the way to the side like that. So if I remove this skeg, this hab snap is attached by this outside snapping point to the snapping point of the nose cap. So we're going to back out until that skeg reappears. And that's the front and side of this. And you're just going to mirror this on this side. Both sides are exactly the same. All right. Now we've got a mess up here. So how this is going to work. Did I remove the hab snap already? I believe I did. I don't see it anywhere. There it is. So we're going to take this hab snap. It's a top and bottom at 25%. We're going to take, I'm using a shield generator from that, also that bad space, or bad tech subspace warfare, but use whatever shield you like. If you're using a different shield, you can grab a decorative shield and just grab the decorative Nautilus tower. And that is going to go on the back snapping point. And we're going to take an equipment plate with a decorative missile. I like using the scythe just for this particular thing. And that's going to go on the front snapping point. This scan jammer is from the ASC Deimos mod. And that's going to go on the inside snapping point. And then this one, not on the outside, but on the very center snapping point. And then this whole thing here gets attached just like the skegs underneath. The very outside point of that hab snap attaches to the snapping point on the nose cap. Now this whole section here looks a little complicated, but let me show you this. We're going to take two spine Cs, flip them back to back, flip a spine A on its side, and two more of the spine Cs flip sideways. Now we're going to grab this whole thing and we're going to attach it right there. And then this attaches right behind this spine A. And now I can put this one onto there because it's got the actual snapping point for me. So now you're starting to see everything coming together. All of this over here, we will get to that. This is all for the back and the back sides, and that's, yeah. Let's finish off this side here. I'm going to take a 220 CB landing gear and a decorative Ares DT-10. We're going to hover the engine right over the back edge of this hab. Select all, accept, and that merges it on. And we're going to repeat the process with the landing gear. So now you've got a VTOL landing gear directly feeding into another engine. I like that look. All right, complicated bit number 2. We're going to remove both of these hull panels. We set them there in the first place just to set their orientation on level, and we're pulling both of them so we can use this one to help snap everything back, because we are adding a lot of hab snaps. So here's how this is going to work. We want one at 75% wide. And behave. There. But it's going to go right there. On each side, we want another one. So that gives us our snapping points there. But, so now we can take these two and snap them in place. Oops, this one actually needs to be a 50. Bring those in. And then these cargo containers can fit on either side. But now I need another snap for these three. Because if I try and put these in place, Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you just saw me figure out an easier way of doing this live. Normally I added another hab snap in there, but I don't need to. Okay. So let me pull this back off and I'll show you that again real quick. Alright. So the very center, that's why I did it. Oops. Okay, so yeah, I do have to add that back in. I need one of these, another 75 in the middle, overlapping the 50%. What that does is that attaches the hab snaps to the actual living space and the cargo hull and gives me all the extra hab snaps. Otherwise, these would not have been actually connected. Some of these would not have been connected to the ship. I think most of these fuel tanks. All right. So now that those are in place, I can put these hull panels back on. And again, a lot of snapping points, so just kind of line it back up. And we've got one more that goes on that particular spot. But just for the sake of beginning the engine assembly, we want a decorative White Dwarf 1000 and then put these two back. So that is the side. Now we're going to start getting into the top. This is actually not that hard. We're going to need two more of these hull pieces. But also, if you notice, like I showed before, these have two orientations. We want them in their up orientation this time. We want it sticking out above. Then we're going to take two of these decorative cargo holes. When they're flipped in this orientation, they actually have a snapping point on the side. That snapping point on the side attaches to the inside of this armor piece. Just like that. Now this ASC spine riser attaches to the top of this IOS cockpit. Other versions of this cockpit do not have that snap on the top. If so, very simple fix. Grab one of these mini bracers, put it on top or below, put the riser on top of the mini bracer, and then put it in place. So if you're not using this particular version of the IO cockpit or the Deimos cockpit, that's how you get around that issue. And then we're going to put these two back in place. That's too far over. They're trying to use the bottom snap. There we go. Now, we are going to take these Trinity Hope caps from Trinity Aerospace, and that's going to sink down into the top of the ship right there. These are actually sitting down on the habs below. They're just merged down into these armor platings. And that's the top. So now we have the top and most of the sides. This right here will be mirrored when I get the back. This back is pretty complicated. I'm going to have to get it completely torn apart and then show you how I put it back together. So give me one more moment. Okay, we're back with the engine cluster and all of this mess back here pulled apart. It's really not that bad. It just takes a very specific setup to get everything to look right. So we're going to take a couple of these mini bracers. They are going to attach to this back snapping point of this whole piece. But we're going to set them in place to get their location and the Z-axis kind of locked in. Then we're going to take one of these Alvin Warp binary engines. This is from a free mod, but we're going to take 4 of these. So the best way to do this is to copy one out here, select this whole thing, bring it in. So now I should have 3. So we're going to do it one more time. So now that those are all stacked in place, I can take a couple of these Stroud nose caps, one flip backwards, and these are going to attach like that. Oop, one step too far back. This one needs to be here. This second bracer here needs to attach to the inside snapping point of there. And then we would just repeat this on the other side. Normally the easiest way of doing it will be to quite literally, let's get rid of that for now, do the exact same thing. And just mirror it. And then you'd be able to set this whole thing into the ship. We're going to leave this off to the side. And I'm actually, I deleted the wrong one. This one would actually attach here, but we're leaving it off to the side for now. You want to, as few snapping points in here as you can possibly get. But we're going to go ahead and deal with all the engines back here. All right. So we need, on this snapping point, we're going to take a mini bracer, and then we're going to copy 4 more. 2 behind and then 2 more on top of the back 2. This is one of those bad tech Deimos bellies that has cargo, but if you're not using that mod, by all means just use a regular one. I do have a second one down here. On top of this bracer, we want another hab snap at 50% wide. Alright, so we're going to take a decorative Aries and we're going to use this is actually going to snap to the Deimos belly. Or it should be. What are you actually snapping to? Oh, I do have a snap. I forgot to mention, I have a hab snap on the bottom. This is attaching to the bottom hab snap over here, like that. So let's put this bracer back. I can actually get rid of this one then. I had an extra one. Now we're going to duplicate this engine, go up a level, and then we're going to use the hab snap up top, both side pieces, just like that. Now these White Dwarf 100s or 1000s, there's a bracer here, and remember the other one behind it? We're going to use those and put a couple in place and copy it, one forward. And then because of the hab snap that's on the bottom down here, we'll take the belly back in place and we're grounding one more of these White Dwarfs and push it in. Oh, never mind. That's why I had the other hab snap. Okay. I'm going to take another one of these at 50% wide and set it right on top. Put this belly back in place. Make sure it's not clipping into the hab in front of it. All right. Now with this engine with another hab snap, we can sink it in just a little bit farther into this belly. And there's our engine cluster, aside from the 2 on the sides that we placed earlier. So now, this is where we would put this back into place. Remember, this attaches, the front bracer attaches to the center snapping point on this. I don't know if you saw that, but let me show you. If you go too far back, it'll sink down. It's trying to attach to the top snapping point of this instead of the back one here. This is where you want it. I was right the first time. Back snapping point of this cap attached to this bracer. You want everything to kind of be sinking in a little bit, but this not to be pulled back too far. So we would have the same on this side. Hold up, wait a minute. Why are you off? Oh, I'd move the ship around. That's why. Now I'm looking at this. This looks right. This looks wrong. Okay, so yeah. The front snapping point of this nose cap on this bracer. I apologize. We got there in the end. All right. Now, so for the top here, we're going to take one of these ASC armor plating B1s, nose caps, and we're just going to kind of set it in place and move it until it sinks down like that. We don't want it all the way up here, and we don't want it all the way up here. Although you can. I like it where it's sunk down just a little bit. Actually, I'm going to experiment. Let's bring it up a little bit. Let's take one of these ASC spine intakes, set that down and merge it into the back of the engine. We're going to bring another one in, and this is going to sit on top of one of the this one is sitting on top of the bracers. This one is actually sitting down on top of the halves below. Nah, don't like that. We're going to sink that back down in and then bring this one forward. Like that. This is the way I had it originally. So this one is sitting on that bracer. And then this one is sitting on the bracer right behind it. And then this is sinking down and sitting on top of the halves. Okay. And that's the back. Now to kind of finish off these sides, we're going to grab a spine intake and a spine A aft. We're going to set it just like that. Now, if you want to, I didn't the first time around, but now I'm seeing it, so take another spine A. It's going to barely be seen, but feel completely free to ignore that particular. So now we're going to copy these over. And that's sitting in the wrong spot. There we go. There. That's where everything is supposed to sit. Now, if you want to start adding all these little greeble stuff, I would put a comm spike array right there. On this side, I just have another one of these dual frequency scan jammers. There's a free snapping point on top of the living quarters. That's where that goes. And this one's from a free mod. It costs a good bit for what it does, but this radar dish actually spins while you're in flight and sitting on the air, on the landing pad. So definitely worth that, as far as I'm concerned. Gonna get rid of that extra spine A, and since I copied the other one over, we're gonna get rid of that. Now for these wings, these are from another paid mod. I absolutely, you do not need to get, what is this one? I believe this one is a 200 credit mod. It might be 400, but either way, there are a lot of parts in this mod. They're awesome. I would recommend getting it if you're a dedicated shipbuilder, but for this particular build, yeah. So we're going to use one of these ASC pylon type Cs. You could use a mini bracer, but it would show, and it would have a lot of extra snapping points. We're going to let's move these out of the way because there's a hab snap underneath. Another one of these hab snaps at 50% right in the center. And I have these two slightly differently colored. This one go on the front. That one will go on the center one. Oh, and then where the hab snap doesn't really matter. You just want this to be towards the center, maybe towards the front of the wings. And then this whole assembly just attaches to one of those mini bracers in the back. Now, I've got quite a bit of stuff visible up here. So one way to fix that, actually I'm not going to use that because it can't flip. I'm going to grab, I have two mini mods, Deimos belly. I'm going to flip it to this orientation and just kind of tuck it in to where it can't really be seen. There's one angle you can kind of see down in there. So if you really want, just grab another engine and cover it. You're not really going to see the nozzle in the back, but it covers that spot up. So we're going to take this other assembly, put it at the same spot. I forgot this piece. This is an absolutely unnecessary and it's completely unnecessary actually, because those are attached. Let me get rid of it. Forget this thing even exists. It's extra attachment points for the Phobos cockpit that you can get through, I believe it's also in Trinity Aerospace, a free mod. But I forgot to mention the front. So, on the front of the control station hab, on the bottom of the armor shroud for the Phobos cockpit, I have 4 of these missile launchers just tucked in. And then just a Stroud braking engine in behind it. And the missiles kind of look like they're coming out of those missile tubes or those front openings in the braking engine, turning that into a bit of a torpedo launcher type thing. These up here are just purely decorative, but they look like possibly, rockets you can use for anti-armor or in a gunship kind of strafing role. And that is basically the ship complete. I put the back together a little bit differently than I had torn it apart, which is why I have a few extra points of mass you see down on the bottom right. But overall, that is the ship. So let's go ahead and get out of here. And I'm going to take you on a bit of an interior tour, but first, the exterior walk around, because this ship is just, I don't think I can best this one. I have made some really cool designs in my opinion, but I just don't think I'll be able to. Uh-oh, what happened here? That engine is actually supposed to be sitting lower and merging into the back of here, so I'm going to have to fix that. I think I forgot to accidentally deleted an extra bracer or something. We'll see. But coloring temp, since the back of this hab is exposed, just paint it completely black, all three colors. Then it just kind of blends in and it's not hugely conspicuous. Quick fix for this engine back here, if you don't want to try and mess around with putting it in an additional engine down at the bottom, just take another one of these skeg pieces and attach it to the back of this landing gear, and it kind of completes the look in. You have a very large kind of invisible wall around these things, so yeah. I forgot to mention when I was putting these together, I like this arrangement of these fuel pods and these cargo pods. They look like potential like flare dispensers. You got an enemy missile homing in on you, you can drop some countermeasures, some chaff or whatever they use in the 2330s. Alright, interior tour time. First time I rebuild a modded ship, it always takes a few extra seconds for the loading screen, so yay. There it goes. Not yet, I'm showing people stuff. This is the cargo hull at the bottom of the ship.
Yes, you need me?
Back here is the reactor. This is an actual reactor. I love this mod. You have an industrial workbench down here. This is the ladder up into the ship. Keep forgetting I have a power pack on. I'm so used to using just regular packs, as a matter of fact. Alright. You didn't see that. There. So this is the 1x1 living space. Just nice little seating area for passengers, whatever. I'll show you that in a second. Back here is the brig. You have 6 holding cells, each with 2 bunks. This could also double as enlisted quarters. This is intended to be a military ship, so you can either have some enlisted quarters back here, or passengers, or use it as a brig, depending on how you want to roleplay using the ship. Now this is the 2x3 living space, and it is absolutely, if I can fit this on a ship and have it make sense, it's going on my ship. So, orient you a little bit. This is the back center. We're going to go to the back right. This is a 4-bunk living space.
How you doing, sweetie?
Well, I'm okay.
With a window out into the center. Lockers for their gear and their own private bathroom.
You know me so well, Dad.
So back to the back center, directly to your left, you have a small infirmary.
I must confess, the hum of a grab.
Will you shut up? You guys never stop talking. Continuing out to the left, we have a small armory. I haven't decorated this or done anything with it because I was doing the rebuilds and stuff, but I would put extra weapon racks and turn this into a proper armory. Right now it's just kind of a weapons and gear storage looking space to me. A small hydroponics lab for fresh food on those longer patrols. And also, where is the control? There it is over there. Another window out into the galley. Small little galley, but definitely works for a crew of 4 to 6. And directly in front of the crew quarters You have a captain's cabin with his own private little bathroom. Now, just forward of this,
Get out there and do something new today, shall we?
forward into a 1x1 control station. One more ladder. We're into another control station. And then this is the modded Phobos cockpit. You have all of your major workbenches. You have a research station there. Bounty clearance, mission board, nav console, and this kind of useless space from the original cockpit now is turned into a private bathroom. Not too sure I want to be making my meds in the toilet, but at least you got the workbench. And the best thing, this is so cool. A private little cabin. It's definitely much more of a Spartan interior than the one downstairs. So I use this as like the role play for the pilot's seat. And then the single cabin down below is like your admiral's berth or something. Let's see how she looks in the sky.
Ship's clear and the sky is calling to us.
Just pretend there's a skeg there. The engine block, you can pretty much do whatever you want, so long as it suits the ship. But this is the best one that I have found that looks... It looks hefty enough to push this ship to speed, but I want this ship to look heavy, intimidating, and fast. You put too many engines on the back, now it just looks like a huge ship that needs all of that just to be able to move. Put too few, it looks too... Yeah. Forgive my OCD autistic nature. But I'm in the shadow of the planet, so you can't see a whole lot, but cannons, disruptor beams, and the best part, the missiles look like they're coming from the torpedo tubes. There we go. Hope you have enjoyed. And thank you for watching. If you have any, if you try and build this yourself and you do run into any problems, by all means, put a message down in the comments, and I'll see if I can help you out the best I can. But until then, have yourself a good one.